Hey everyone, welcome to Plants and Politics. So, Missouri State Senator Stephen Roberts Jr. is a Democrat, and he's a candidate who's running to unseat progressive Congresswoman Cori Bush. And it's been revealed that Roberts was accused of sexual assault by not one, but two women. So the first woman is Cora Faith Walker. She alleged that Roberts raped her in August of 2016. And Walker, who was only 37 years old, died last month of unidentified causes. So they're not saying it's a mystery why she died. The family just hasn't released the results of the autopsy, I guess, or what they know about her cause of death. So 17 days after her death, Roberts filed his paperwork to run for office in the House of Representatives. The second woman that he allegedly assaulted is Amy Harms. She's an attorney from St. Louis, Missouri, and she alleges that Roberts assaulted her at a bar. This was allegedly in April of 2015. So this was before Ms. Walker. And this was when she was still in law school. So The Intercept recently reported on these allegations and the fact that someone deleted these allegations from Roberts' Wikipedia page. The person who deleted the details was traced back through their IP address to the Missouri Office of Administration building, which sits right across the street from the Senate building. And The Intercept states that, quote, the user tagged the cuts as false allegations, libelous statements, and articles linked to partisan websites and false narratives. Why don't they just go full Trump mode, right? Just say fake news. You know it, and I know it. And they say that this suspicious editing continued with other users. So other people were adding the information, and then other people were deleting the allegations against Roberts. So anyway, here's the details about what allegedly went down with these women and their cases. Harms reported the incident to the police. The report that they read from the police states that Roberts touched her genital area over her clothing and put his hand inside her waistband and attempted to reach into her pants after she turned him down. However, The Intercept reports that, quote, in an ensuing civil suit, a letter to the state legislature and comments to The Intercept, Harms stated that Roberts managed to put his hand into her underwear and touch her genitals, though the police report does not make this clear. So the police report was evidently misleading and didn't give the full scope of what took place. They also say that Roberts was arrested after she reported that, and then a criminal case ensued, but the county attorney decided to defer prosecution, and then the case just never went to trial. However, shortly thereafter, after his arrest and all this came out, Roberts was fired from his job at the St. Louis Circuit Attorney's Office. They cited performance issues as the reason for the firing. In a letter to The Intercept, his office tried to explain the reason for it and tried to cast doubt, I guess, on the idea that it was somehow related to these allegations by Harm. So Harms filed an ethics complaint against the prosecutor because she alleges that the prosecutor mishandled her case. Roberts, of course, denies all of the allegations, but The Intercept noted that he did enter into settlement agreements with each of them. Now, the details of Walker's settlement are unknown because the agreement prohibited each of them from revealing any details, and her family doesn't want to comment. I mean, for obvious reasons, right? She just passed away. They're grieving. But Harm's agreement was reviewed by The Intercept, and it shows that Roberts paid her $100,000 after she filed a civil suit against him. Harms is now speaking out, she says, because she believes that these allegations against Roberts are just being buried. They're just being swept under the rug, and people are just ignoring it. So in response to The Intercept's reporting and questions, Roberts almost appeared to try to intimidate the news outlet. he said in part, or his office said in part, quote, "Nothing you have reported has been factual or balanced. We have no interest in working with an organization that borders on libel in their reporting," which they put in quotes, "and is dangerously close to torturous interference. We strongly encourage you to check your facts and sources." But The Intercept pointed out that they've reviewed the police report, and they say that it includes many statements from witnesses, including an eyewitness statement from the night of this assault. In fact, there's 7 witnesses in this police report, including that of the eyewitness, Pamela Johnson, who was also a law student at the time. And Johnson apparently told the police that she saw this with her own eyes. She told the police that she saw Roberts, quote, "rub Harm's thigh and her vagina on top of her clothing with his hand." And along with Johnson, there was another witness who said that they saw Roberts and Harms talking that night. And then later that evening, Harms told that person, as well as 6 other witnesses, that Roberts touched her. So there seems to be contemporaneous support, maybe not all eyewitnesses, but people that she told at that time. And Johnson told the Intercept that she has no doubt. She has no doubt about what she witnessed that night. In regard to the rape allegation made by Ms. Walker, the Intercept wrote that a rape kit had been collected at Mercy Hospital and that her pelvic exam showed, quote, "signs of injury." But the prosecutor said that there still wasn't enough evidence to prove whether or not the encounter was consensual, so it went nowhere. Now, Roberts' attorney alleges that it was obviously consensual. That's a direct quote, because he said that Roberts has a nude photo of Walker. But Walker apparently told the police that he took that photo without her consent. Roberts, I should mention, sued Walker. He sued Ms. Walker for defamation in 2016, and then Walker countersued him. However, they both agreed to dismiss their cases in 2019, and their attorneys both claim that no money was exchanged in relation to that being dropped. And the Intercept points out that since Harms first accused and reported Roberts, he has been, quote, "elected as a Missouri House representative, state senator, chair of the Missouri Legislative Black Caucus, and minority whip for the state Senate Democratic Caucus." And now he's running to become a United States congressman. So Harms said, quote, "I suppose it's not entirely surprising given how much money and power his family holds in the area, but it's still extremely disappointing." So is he guilty? None of us were there, but I tend to believe victims because I know how difficult it is to speak out. It's tough to make a formal accusation and to deal with all of the backlash. So, and Harms has a witness, one of which says she saw it with her own eyes. Roberts wasn't in public office back then. So what reason would she have had to lie about him is the question. So, you guys can come to your own conclusions, but this is a perfect example of why I always say research candidates. Do not just go and vote for anyone with a D behind their name. These cases were in the public sphere before he was elected for his first position in public office. This should have come out before. And just because someone is a Democrat doesn't automatically mean that they're a good and honest person. There are pieces of shit on both sides of the aisle. Anyway, guys, just wanted to put that information out there. And, if there are women out there who have more information, I implore you to come forward. I know it's not easy. I know it can turn your life upside down. It is for the greater good. And if this person is a predator, think of how many women you would be saving by speaking out and stopping him before he potentially harms someone else. We don't know. He hasn't been convicted in a court of law, but that's where things stand. So if you do have information, please come forward. All right, guys, thanks so much for watching and listening. Take care. I'll talk with you soon.